Okie doke. So we're each of us who actually got to sit down with Fayon. We're going to talk about what was mentioned in the one-on-ones. Casey hasn't done it yet. Casey should go ahead and do that
What?
sooner rather than later. Sometime this week, please.
She's
What?
easy.
You need to
You
get
should
with the coach.
Fucking talk with our coach, you troll.
I've asked him multiple times.
Yeah,
Okay.
only
Sorry.
after I've bugged you 8,000 times.
I don't play
No.
games at 4 a.m. I have a life.
That's because you're an adult.
Boom.
Let me know general chat. Smile.
But to be fair, oh god. Oh,
Speaking
never mind.
of-
I couldn't even speak.
At Fayon. At Fayon. At Fayon.
PM me. I have this Discord muted.
I think he's
You
going
have
to the other one.
My other one.
Your
I'll talk for now, bro.
your coaching one.
I have the general chat and that one muted.
Corsair Utility Engine.
But every day chat in that
Mouse
channel, I know I'm muted.
actions. New action. Macro.
Stop. No, Casey, no. Anyways, so I just wanted to touch base with everything that's been happening in the past couple weeks. First up, we have been invited to Fayon's private server for coaching, which we appreciate very much. Obviously, I had talked about this earlier. I put a post about it in red. Please do not antagonize, fight with, cause drama, whatever, with Night Raid. They are children.
Too late.
They are children. We are better than them. We don't have to do anything with them. So please just keep it to a minimum on the trolling for Fayon's sake, because he already has to deal with them. He doesn't need to be dealing with us. Next thing is Hell, we're going to start with you on what Fayon went through with you on your one-on-one. So go ahead and take it away.
Who?
Are you in the
Me?
middle? Yes, you.
I don't remember, dude.
Are you fucking serious? You don't remember what it... Okay.
We talked about... Okay, I remember most of it. We talked about ward placement, my positioning in lane, how aggressive I am in a lot of the games, build choices, and how to fix that shit, because, yeah, that's a problem. And then was there one more thing, Fan?
Who's talking?
Hellfire
I'm
D,
talking.
solo lane.
Your rotations when team fights. You need to know when to sit in the back with your carries and when to swap out from your front line support.
That was the other thing. Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Oh, and then warding.
There's obviously more in-depth talking about it.
Of course. We're just going over general stuff. I think we went a little bit more with... When I did it with Fayon, we went into a little bit more with what everyone was doing.
Uh-huh.
So the main concern that we were having right now is that we're not necessarily farming as efficiently as we can. We're not paying attention to where we're placing ourselves in order to keep our carries secure and safe. And then I had a couple warding issues and stuff like that. What I remember mentioning is that I need to be splitting camps with Casey more. And then Casey needs to be splitting camps with Hell less. And then I need to be farming a little bit more from the mid or the dual lane, depending on who's ahead, who's behind, where it needs pressure, everything like that. So we're going to be more focusing on our pathing and jungle rotations on that point. So, Casey, I need you to actually start calling where you're going to be rotating for camps, how you're going to rotate, and everything like that. We're going to put you with camp timers and everything like that. So you need to actually vocalize and talk in the game. I know that you can call fights out pretty well, but we need the information so we can make an overall strategy. Okay? So we can time ourselves to rotate and everything like that. Casey?
Huh?
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Okay. Acknowledgement
What
would
did he
be
say?
awesome. Yeah, what did I say?
Exactly.
So,
Buff timers.
okay, buff
Alright,
timers
well,
and
he got one.
You
alright,
got
that's
one.
a start.
Okay. Leave me alone.
You
You're
need to be-
bullying me.
you need to be paying attention, Casey. Come
I
on.
am.
Okay. You need to be calling your rotation to camps. What your plan is for the 2 camps ahead. I'm going to do this and then that. And if you change it, you need to let us know. The jungle is a pivot point in the game. That is very obvious. So we need to know what your plan is, what you're doing, and then, especially in the early and mid game, because that's where we're weakest at. So we need to know what's going on so we can farm efficiently and just snowball off of what you give us, because that our strength right now is in the jungle. So let's build off of that.
Okay.
Noog's
Yeah.
not here. He's at a Boy Scout camp or Boy Scout
Yep.
meeting, whatever.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute Casey real quick if he's just gonna do that. There we go. Oh, I didn't server mute him. There's a server mute. Yes. Okay, so basically, I need a little bit more time with Noog. What is he? Oh, he's just being annoying now. Stop it. You're on mute. Noogie and I need to be a little bit more efficient in our mechanics. We've been getting pretty good here and there. I am worried about his availability. He has been on vacation for the past. He's been on vacation 3 times in the past, 4 or 5 weeks. So I need to sit down and talk with him about that. I'm not going to do that. I'll do that tomorrow. What else do we need to do before we get into the good meaty stuff?
They redid the chest.
I know, right?
Oh,
I don't even know.
yeah,
what it's
they did.
called.
We need to know what. Okay, so this was a big thing that we saw, and I'm talking, and I'm going to use the Terra game as an example. Do you guys remember when Hell Sinister and I went up to the speed buff to secure that speed buff? Does everyone remember that specific play?
When I was playing Ymir?
Yes, you were playing Ymir. As Ymir, Terra, and Giannis invading a speed buff.
Yes, I remember that very clearly.
Okay.
And I also watched back the VOD, so
Yeah.
definitely.
Now, there was a lot that just really showed what we really need to work on overall, and it goes out throughout most of our games that we have is we spread ourselves out too much. Now we need to know what our target is for the actual invade, and the target was speed buff. Now it was good that you got a little bit poke out on FX Future, but once we got that speed buff, we needed to get out. Now the big problem was that I was too far away from my mid laner, but they weren't taking advantage of it, and I was keeping Biddy Man out of there, and they didn't come around, wrap around to kill Sinister, which is what they should have done. But the main big problem is the way that we backed out of that. They let us get out for free for some stupid reason. But the way that we backed out of that was really, really hazardous, and especially after we used the Yonasult to try and kill the Susano, that really hindered our escape because we were 3v5, 2 tanks and a mage up in the middle of nowhere with no kind of backup or anything like that. So we need to be aware of where we're putting our pressure, what our goal is, and achieving that goal, and then leaving. Especially in that situation in a mid game.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
That sucks. You're gonna sit here through this, and you're gonna hold your piss in your pants. What else What else did we talk about? I need to work on my Terra play. I remember that. God damn, my Terra is horrible. Holy shit, was it bad? I know it's bad too. Good God. What else did we talk about? Oh, we need to get Noog rotating a little bit earlier. because he was kind of out farming in right lane when we were kind of grouping up and doing stuff on the other side of the map, and they just didn't punish him for it. So we need to keep
The
track of
bear
that.
mentality.
Huh? Yeah, the bear mentality. Yeah, we need to get him out of that because we excel at team fights. So we need to take the fights and do what we need to do. Shit. And I've been saying this over and over, but our biggest problem is our early and mid game. We're perfect. We're not perfect. We're good as soon as we can group up and do stuff. So I think if as long as we work on our positioning, we establish a line of where we can go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. I'm stealing some of your pictures here, Fayon, from
Go for it.
positioning. Let's see, where was it? Because we went over some of these maps that you had. Let's see if I have them here. Where were the maps that you had for positioning? Like
Meeting
for
notes.
Gold Fury, yeah, the notes that you had.
The fire
Meeting
giant
notes.
one.
Yeah.
It needs a little bit of explaining before I go over it, or before you go over it.
Okay, so we are going to do copy link. I'm going to post all these in red here just so we all have a common place to look at them. Hold on, Adam, I'll give you some roles so you can
Y'all
see
can
it.
just look at the meeting notes. And I just
Well, Adam, the pointless one who's sitting in with us, can't see them, so
oh, okay.
I'm just going to be posting them here. Where is fire giant positioning? Copy link. And then it's wording. We'll talk about words in a minute. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the top one is the Gold Fury positioning. Now Noog isn't here because this is the really big one for him, where he
I went over it
positions
with him.
himself. Huh? You did? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Casey, this is you're back. Of course, you went to the bathroom. You fucking nerd. You missed the entire thing that I was talking about.
Well, we're recording it, and that's
We are recording
okay.
it, and I'll be posting it. Casey, I would like to direct your attention, if you can keep it there for about 5 seconds, over to Red Chat, where I put up a couple pictures from Fayon's notes. The top one is a Gold Fury positioning fight. Now, I remember talking to him about this, and that this strategy and the way that you position yourself is probably the best way to approach an amateur smite scrim at a Gold Fury. Now, we did have something like this before when we were talking about with Mike. We actually had a nice line exactly like that. We had a couple positions switched around. So we have the ability to recognize when we have a line, when we have a defensive line, and where it is, how to push and pull. We do end up playing this position style a little bit more forward towards their side of the corridors. But this lets us be a little bit more defensive and let them draw us in. Now, so what we would do here is where the gold dot is, that's a support. Mid is purple, green is ADC, and solo is the blue dot, and jungle is the red dot. So pretty much.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so I'll let Fayon explain it. He knows it a little bit better than I do. I'm taking his fire here. Go ahead, Fayon.
Okay, so essentially what we have here is we have a hidden team. So solo is unseen as well as jungle. Mid would be hiding behind that rock, being unseen. The only people that are exposed would be support and ADC. Reason being, if you know where their mage is, you know how to position your team. If you know where the jungle is, you know how to position your team. If you do not know where the solo is, your jungler has a hard time judging where he needs to be to flank their backline. So we have the support eating abilities, and your ADC just DPSing the front line down in case nothing happens, like no flanks happen. You'll know who's winning the fight based on your DPS. Your jungle will be coming up that left side, but if happened their solo would be there, your jungle would just fall back a bit, and your solo would push into their backline. Because you always want someone in their backline interrupting a lot of things. Now, once something gets interrupted, a lot of focus is turned towards what's happening, or what something like the new thing that's happening in the team fight. So that's when the mid laner would expose themselves, or even just throw abilities through your wall if possible, without even exposing themselves, and start dealing damage where the support would end up pushing in with their backline aka the ADC, and start melting people and bursting people. And then the jungle would just pick off people left and right as they should.
Now, we talked about this just a little bit as an alternate method for doing this. Let's say that the jungle can't for some reason wrap around that gold fury. We could do the same kind of style of wrapping around with the solo lane to disrupt. I don't know if you just mentioned that, but we can do that same kind of style and bring it around, and it won't be as efficient in terms of killing and stuff like that, but the positioning's similar, especially with Hell's aggression and mechanics. I think we could pull it off.
I'm an aggressive boy.
Yes, you are.
Also, one thing to note here, if your wave is pushed up to their tower, you are able to rotate in a lane from a jungle gank, so you are guaranteeing them not seeing you.
In dual lane, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And that's just in case that they have a ward there. So, you paying attention, Casey?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I was just answering for him, you know?
Yeah, I gotcha. All
Is there
right.
any questions about this?
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, when should I be rotating? We talked about that a little, but not
Who's
like
I?
enough.
Hellfire
I
the
am-
solo lane.
Whenever you know you force their teleport out, you need to ask your team, can I make a rotation? Can we make a play?
Okay.
Every time that happens, your team must respond. And that's when you know you should rotate.
Alright. With my teleport up, just in case, if the, first
You want your
push-
teleport up, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so we'll be as soon as you call his teleport down and you have yours up, we'll probably be looking for pressure into mid or dual lane depending on how the game's going, and we'll call that. It doesn't have to be every time, of course, but
yeah.
we'll probably try and look for a fight or something in either lane. When do you normally get upgrade? Can you use tier 1 teleport toward teleport towards, or is that tier 2?
No, that's
Tier
tier
two.
two.
Okay.
Tier-
I just wanted
For
to
the
make
early
sure.
game, tier 1 is just, it's fine enough. You teleport to that mid tower and you're ready for a fight.
Okay.
I want to try ganking mid more. I do it slightly, but not a.
Okay.
Your first teleport ideally would be around the 7 to 9 minute mark. I'll go further into detail about why later on.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the fire giant positioning and how this goes. And you said that this needed a little bit more explaining. We didn't go over this at all when we were talking. So
All right.
we'll take
Oh,
it
dude,
away.
I've seen that in SPL. They do that all the time.
Well, yeah, but it go ahead.
So your jungle here doesn't have any specific positioning. I'm just indicating that he will be ganking with that red dot up there. So right now your support's looking to counter ward or just gain control of the vision, because that's what you really want when you're contesting Fire Giant. Your mage, yet again, same as Gold Fury, is remaining invisible to the enemy team. And your carry must stay near a tank, preferably the solo lane, just in case of any cheeky ganks from the enemy jungler or any sort of just wraparound in general. So your support can, just do what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that they have no wraparound, your ADC will push up with your support because you're not too worried about having your ADC exposed. He's not that relevant to a team fight aside from DPSing a tank.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So once you get your pressure in, basically it's the same thing as Gold Fury fight. You'd use your CC properly. You wrap around. Your solo is protecting your backline. Support protecting your backline. One of them is in the front. You gotta swap that out properly. Cycle that damage. Fade that damage out, and your carries will do the rest.
Sounds good. Now, would the ADC traveling with the solo lane change depending on what solo lane that we have? For example, let's say the difference in solo lanes, Ardio and Bologna. So, would the ADC still be running around with Bologna, or or the ADC trying to be stick closer to harder CC? Like, let's say I pick a Ganesh or something like that.
The ADC is going to stay with the solo for like the first couple seconds of the fight because you want to know where their team is first.
Yeah.
And your job is to counter with that fire giant. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
Because if your team is fully exposed in that fire giant pit, they know exactly what they need to do.
Okay. I guess that's been one of our bigger mistakes, but we've kind of the way that we've kind of approached this in the past is we'll kind of hover around to where the northern. I'm going to use north, south, east, west. The northern
Yeah.
side of that little pillar in front of Pyromancer is where I'll sit in that little archway between Pyromancer and Fire Giant. And we'll kind of hover mages around the pillar or rotate it around. Now I know we're kind of risking with the ward being there, and then we'll have ADC like more so on the other side of Pyromancer or more towards the Fire Giant on either side in the south side of the pit. And that's if we have. And normally, what we'll do is we'll try to establish control of that pit before we do anything. I know that's not necessarily good because then they throw a ward in the pit and they can see us. But like, and what I'm asking is it more flexible than what it seems?
A fire giant fight?
Yeah.
Oh yes, it's very flexible.
Okay.
This is the like ideal position just to gain your pressure or know if you have pressure or not.
Okay.
After this is where the flex comes in because you need to know who's where.
Okay. And on that, let's bring up the wardage map for what is this? This is blue buff, red buff, gold fury, fire giant. We'll keep on fire giant for a little bit. So this map is actually going to look very, very similar here to what we do. The only difference is that speed buff ward, and we talked about wards for a little bit, Vayon and I. The speed buff ward is probably one of the most important wards that we can get because it lets us see, it gives us a heads up ahead of time where they're coming in, how many there are coming into that top of the north side of the jungle there, of the fire giant. We do put a little bit of wards to the south of us when we're in the pit. But I think that we can adjust that a little bit to where we can get a little bit more aggressive wards up into their jungle. But I do like how similar we are to this almost. What we haven't been doing is behind that fire giant ward. And I think we got burned on it a couple times, if I remember correctly, from like a raw 1 or a raw ult or something like that. I think that was against Horizon Dusk is where we got burned on that once or twice. Okay. Now, with the wards, Phaon, what would be more priority in terms of Fire Giant vision? I know that it would be ideal to have a majority of those wards, but like, what would be a priority other than the sentry on the Fire Giant?
The 4 around it.
The 4 around it? Okay. Alright. Copy link. And these are the Gold Fury wards, which also look pretty similar to what we have except for those 3 northernmost wards. And the very tippy top ward is just like the same as the speed ward on the Fire Giant. So what we'll probably end up doing is, Casey, you're probably going to be getting those wards on the very tippy top, if we can get them. So that'll be your job.
Send me to die, I understand.
Pretty much. What I'll be focusing on is having that sentry ward so that we can keep it on the objective, and then at least have one aggressive flank ward. Now our back line, our ADC and mid are going to be looking to get our flank wards and our back wards. And Hell, I'm going to need you to be flexing around with how your wards are, okay? Where your wards are.
In the fire giant?
Both
case?
Fire Giant and Gold Fury. Like if we actually have to fight like we do at Fire Giant for Gold Fury, you're going to be flexing around on the northern side of things, like on the aggressive side of things. I would say more towards like the laning area, just so that we can get a little bit more vision.
Okay.
But pretty much, I want Casey getting the northernmost ward. He has the most escape potential, especially with some of the gods that he plays. So I think that would
Like
be.
Thanatos.
I think no, not like Thanatos. But I think that would be advantageous
Like
to us.
Ra.
Yeah, like Ra.
Zeus.
Oh boy.
Do you ever see Zeus get out of a battle? No, because he ends it. Fucking kills everybody.
Now for we didn't go over some of these. What'd you just send me? Oh, I saw that. You sent me that like a fucking month, like a week ago, dude.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. All right, so here.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No.
Here's some basic war mappage. I know we got most of it down. I've been kind of encroaching on where Casey should ward. So
Yeah, taking my shit.
That's depending on mid and the enemy mid and the enemy solo, or really the enemy solo.
Okay.
And how relevant their late game is.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and explain this for us then?
Well, everyone can see their wards. I'll explain jungle wards. So basically, if you farm your jungle and the enemy farms their jungle, neither of you are getting any lead. Therefore, you need to look for invades with your team, and you need to note jungle times for that. So you need to base out, like, if they have a Giannis or they have any sort of high impact mid lane, you need to be warding that red buff. You need to know when you can get there, when you can start flanking as a team and get that under your control. That's going to give you a lot more farm, maybe kill potential, and then end up leading you to Gold Fury. If the mid's not even a worry and your mid's doing, extremely well, and they have someone like a Cerberus or Bologna, any scary solo laners, you need to get that blue buff off them. Make sure that your solo has a really easy time against them.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
I like blue buffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like
Yeah.
really. You know what my favorite part about blue buff is when Casey drops it for me. But
You
that
know,
doesn't happen very
you know
often.
what I really like is actual wards coming from my solo lane.
Hey, like I outwarded you last game.
You
so
did
shut
outward
the
me
fuck up.
last game. Do it more often.
Enter the golden gym.
And you don't want more than 2 wards as the jungler in their jungle. You want to make sure you have 1 ward, and then you're warding the spot around mid. Preferably the top side, enemy top side.
Let's see. Is there any other spots that I wanted to go over? Sentry spots. Do we really need to go over that? You pretty much got that down. Oh, I'll just post it anyways. Oops. Nope. Don't open link. No. Wookie doke. General sentry spots. Pretty much it's the mid corners, top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. Hey, Hell,
Hello.
you see that nice little star on top of that pyromancer?
Yeah.
Do me a favor, and can you do that a little bit more often?
See, like, here's the thing. No. I think that's what I'm supposed to say there. Am I reading this right, fan? Is that those are the lines, right?
You can yell at Zion.
Great, sweet. It looks like those are my lines. Sorry, Zion. I gotta do what coach says,
Okay. Was there any questions, comments, concerns that we wanted to go over from you guys? Yes, no, maybe so.
No.
Not
Okay.
really.
Okay,
Put us in the ranked conquest.
no. I'm sure Noog had a couple of things that he wanted to go over. I don't remember. But now we get to the nice and fun part here.
Hey, on do vibes with me.
We had a nice little fight today between our mid lane and our jungle. So I hear over a casual game. This has been a repeating occurrence for the past month, 2 months. So, what do you guys have? What's going on? Is it just communication issues? Is it play style? How can I help? Because the last thing that I want is for this kind of argument, toxicity, whatever you want to call it, to bleed into our scrims and practice. And we really, really need you guys to be working together. So, because it's pretty much the core of the game is focused around mid and jungle right now. So we need you guys to be on the same page. Nothing?
Nope.
Well, let's start with the problems
Let
that
me
we
begin.
have.
How about this?
Okay, there
There's
we
a
go.
plethora of issues, right?
Plethora. But go ahead.
Plethora mama.
Okay.
Okay, so we used to communicate. We used to synergize. We used to play around each other the entire early game. Now we don't communicate. We don't synergize. We don't play around each other at all.
Okay, so is that a communications error? Is that a kind of play
That's more than
style
one
thing?
error.
Well, what's the major thing that's going on here? And Casey, can you do me a favor and stop playing a game? You're playing a game right now.
How do you know?
Because I can hear your keyboard. I need you to get out of that game because we're focusing on the problem that you have right now with Jake. Because this is a big problem, and I don't want it to go any further. I'm stopping it here. So, get your head out of your ass, and I need you here. Okay? You out of your game?
Huh? Yeah, I've been out of it.
Okay. So, we just talked about how you guys didn't really. We did have very good synergy between you guys, and we focused our gameplay around that before we took our break. Okay? I know that you and I had words to exchange about it, but I want you to express what the fuck's going on and how you'd like it to change so that we can progress as a team. Because right now, you two are holding us back. You guys are excellent players, mechanic players by yourselves, but we need you two to be working together. Okay? So, what's the deal, Casey? I need you to tell me. You need to tell us what's going on. Jake already went over what he thought was the problem. Well, not necessarily what the problem was, but what the problems are. So, hey, you can't avoid this problem, dude. That's not that kind of issue. I need you to say it out here for the team because this is a team problem.
It's not.
It is a
gonna
team
help.
problem. You need to bring this out to the team so that we can figure out together how to fix this.
Don't pick my gods for me. Listen to what I say and just don't.
I have been telling you. Casey, what do you want to play?
Yeah, that happened.
I'm not
Game you picked
going
me for
to
God, the other
fully
game you
back
wanted to
a
play.
Zeus jungle. I'm sorry, it will never happen. Ever. In the life of Smite.
Don't really ask to play Zeus jungle, but it's okay.
Okay. What are you more referring to, Casey, rather than... I mean, we don't want to pick gods for you. That's why we've been kind of asking what you want to play. Right? So, with that out of the way, how can... And I'm... Not that I'm catering to you, but the jungle is one of the most important roles right now. and we need a focal point to center this on. How would you like things to be changed?
Stu, you're doing shot call.
Huh?
You're shot calling.
Okay. But this is more so of the communication between you and Sinistar. It's not the overall team aspect. It's the early game and the mid game, and that's where we make our most mistakes, and it snowballs off, and comes off of how you rotate and how Jake rotates. I'm not saying it's your fault, but it's the communication between you two which makes it inefficient. So, here's what Here's what I'm going to recommend. And we're going to solve this issue now. And if anyone has any problems with it, we're going to talk about it. Okay? Casey is going to be calling buff rotations. He's going to be planning out how he's going to rotate the buffs, and he's going to request certain things for whether the mid can solo, myself, or ADC. We are going to communicate with him whether or not we have pressure to do such things so that he can come up with a strategy for his pathing as best as we can. Okay? Now, this comes with a lot of responsibility on Casey's part to actually remain talkative throughout the entire game. So, Casey, are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot shut down in the middle of a game, even if you're behind. You cannot get salty and everything like that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Become weakened.
Yeah, become weakened. Don't give a shit. If you're behind,
Well, that, and have you heard what Keeg said in his video, right, when he was leaving? He said weekends, like, when he wasn't there, they just didn't play like they used to. Or like how they usually do, and they just didn't want to play at all. So become that, where we just can't play, where you're always talking, you're just calling all the shit.
now, here's the next thing, is that through our more competitive style games, not referring to Night Raid, but more so with Horizon Dusk, I think it would be better to have a rotating shot caller, and with how the pressure's put out on the map and the inefficiency between jungle and mid, Sinistar is usually kept under his tower, can't really see too much. And he's focusing on getting his farm up and going, keeping even. And I appreciate that. Great player, everything like that. The only thing is that we need to be able to see around the map. We need someone to direct that early and mid game. As soon as we hit team fight mode, our comms are a little messy, we're a little loud, we talk a little fast, but we're talking to each other. We're deciding things together, whether it be a herd mentality or something like that.
This whole thing in the early game comes down to me and Casey getting along together
Yes.
as far as synergy and everything. Because whenever I had pressure in mid, it was off of Casey's ganks, and then I had more freedom to roam and think about other things other than keeping up with my enemy mid lane.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons I was better at shot calling then than I was now. Because we used to do a Nox Naja combo and to wipe the floor with everybody.
But, well,
now we don't do that. It's like we do our own things.
Okay.
Me and him are playing a ranked game while you three are trying to follow. That makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense because that's what it feels like. Okay. The thing is that we can't necessarily put the jungle focus solely on mid. I'm not saying like that was what was going on. Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying that he played through me, and then I and him, after getting pressure in mid and putting them 2 levels down, would rotate that to another lane.
Oh,
usually duo lane, and then we would get a gold fury because we were so far ahead.
Here, the thing is, I think we're gonna have to start putting more jungle focus to denying the solo lane farm so we can get hell rotating. I think that was the call that we talked about the other week, and it's been working for us pretty well. especially just referencing the Bakasura style games that we're having with the Mercury game and stuff like that. We got FX Future and the Solo Lane so far behind they couldn't do anything, and I think that's more advantageous than having a to us anyways than a roaming mid laner soaking up
I
farm
don't
from
care
across
what
the map.
the win condition is. I only care that something like is in planning. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm trying to bring about, and I'm right now I'm putting it on Casey to announce what his plan is for camp rotations. Or so, because you can't call as a mid laner, you can't call camp rotations and focus on what you're doing in mid, as well as your overarching strategy and how we're going to fit into everything else. So what we're going to do is we're putting Casey on camps. Casey's calling camp timers. Casey's going to be calling his rotations and how he's going to go about it. He's going to call the ganks and engages and how it's going to go. Okay, and this is going to be a little bit before we get down to before it's just seamless. Okay. Now, obviously, some things are not going to need to be said. Like when he puts CC, let's say Naja Sash on the mid laner, you follow up with damage.
That needs
that's
to be said like
but
10 to 12
what I'm
seconds
saying is,
before time.
again,
beforehand.
I have said this already. What I'm saying is he's going to be calling the ganks and when he's putting out his CC. Okay, but the fact that you follow up with damage doesn't need to be said. You get my point.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next concern is overarching strategy in terms of how the team's going to move through the mid and early games. Now, with you and Casey needing work, Nuke and I don't need that much work anymore. I'm saying it right now. I'm going to be shot caller through the overarching mid game. I'm going to be calling Gold Fury rotations. I'm going to be calling whether or not we can do Gold Fury and everything like that. I'm doing that. Period. Because you guys need to focus on how you're going to be playing, and through our games with Night Raid, we will get better together, and then I'll become a better shot caller. So I'm not going to be the best at the beginning, but this is what we need to do in order to have better communication between you and Casey, and then better as a team. Dual lane's pretty much almost brain dead except for that early game. So it's not that hard. And plus, we've been working and playing together for a little bit. Does anyone have any objections or any other options that they would like to bring up? Okay. Hey, Shallows.
What's up, guys?
That is not a noise I need to be hearing.
I want to hear it. but-
We're having a team meeting real quick.
Oh, I apologize for interrupting.
No, you're good. We're not hanging out in our red chat, but I'll bring
just
you.
mute myself.
Okay. What was the last thing that I wanted to
Unless
talk
you want
about?
me to leave, I can leave. If
No,
you
no,
don't
no,
want
you're
to.
fine. You can listen. I don't
Alright.
care. So we're going to be doing that instead. So I'll be getting with Faye on a little bit more. We already chat a little bit throughout the day. We'll be talking strategy and everything like that and how to implement things. Okay. It's getting a little late, at least for me. I got work in the morning. Oh, I wanted to touch on this while we have it here. I would prefer. We're going to do this here. Hold on. Copy link. Okay. If I could direct your attention to the coaching server with schedule for dissidents, I've posted a Google Doc to which we're going to be using on a weekly basis. You guys might recognize it later on, or from earlier when we first started, but we're going to be using this on a weekly basis to pretty much schedule scrims. It needs to be updated weekly. I will be putting out reminders. This here, hold on, I don't have it yet. Share, copy link. This here is going to be our schedule for scrims and everything like that. The times will change, the days will change when we'll do stuff. Our break days will be changed and stuff like that. We will be having a meeting at least. Who left, by the way? Okay, it was Shallows. We will be having a meeting probably once or twice a month, like just like this, to discuss things and everything like that. And that's how we're going to do stuff for the foreseeable future. I'll be pinging. I would like it if you guys wouldn't post in the schedule of dissidents so that we can see so I don't have to keep reposting the links. I'll be putting notifications in general if that's okay with you, Fayon.
In what in general?
Like notifications to update the schedule for us. Like updating the Excel document for scheduling.
I can just pin these.
Well, I kind of want them to be easier to access. I mean, pinning it's easier just to be there and look at them. Anyways, we'll figure that out. So I'll be doing my best to keep those updated. I need you guys to keep your time schedule updated on the red schedule for time blocks. Pretty much all I can say is if we have something scheduled, you haven't updated it, and you're available, or it says you're not available, we're gonna find a sub to put in for you. So make sure you keep that updated. What else did I have here? I see in Fayon's survey there are Scrim partner rosters. I do have a document for Scrim partner rosters. Whatever we want to do, we can either keep it on the dock or we can use the server. Whatever becomes easiest, we'll do that. I'm gonna get with Night Raid tonight. I'll talk to Walrus about getting something scheduled for tomorrow if they don't already have something, and we'll start there.
They have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay. What?
But you can probably schedule something regardless because it's not a big meeting.
Okay. I'll get with Walrus about that. Now I know that we've used this already this week. Has everyone updated what they like to play, their top gods and everything like that on our pool and comps sheet?
I'm gonna have to relook at that since the new patch.
Yeah. Keep that updated every time a patch comes out. We are going to be looking at building teams. Looking at building team comps again. Flex picks, stuff like that. I like what we did with the Bakasura kind of thing, where we aimed for a certain play style. So we're going to be looking for that and how to play certain comps and have flex picks for those. We'll have a meeting just like this, but specifically on God Pool and comps. Those are all put together in the same Excel doc, different sheets at the bottom of the page. Let me go ahead and post that real quick. Here, actually, here's what I'll do. I'll do this. Where is new create category? Okay. There's Noog.
Hello.
You just missed almost the entire meeting.
Alright, well, I couldn't see you guys because I had the tab hidden.
It's okay. I got it recorded for you, so I'll be uploading that to YouTube.
Alright. Is that homework?
Yes. Oh, speaking of homework, thank you for reminding me, Noog.
Oh boy.
Fayon, you have that PDF that we were talking about the other day. Are
Yep.
you able to copy and send that to us?
Let's see if it's big or not.
If anything, we can upload it through Google Drive and they can download it from there. I can give you access to one of my folders so you can do it. Okay. So, edit category permissions. Red and coach.
So what's in this doc?
Give me a sec. I'll catch you up with the docs and everything real quick. Give me a second. Okay.
Alrighty.
So we have our own nice little tab now towards the top. I'm going to put actually above community so it's easy to access for everyone. And I'm going to be deleting some of the Smite stuff, so don't worry. Red docs. We're going to be putting in our nice little Grim roster. I need to make it so you guys can't talk in here.
I was first.
Yep, I'm deleting it, so now I'm first.
Get wrecked.
I tried my best.
When you try your best, but you don't succeed.
Yep. So I have the worst cell service in the world right now, so I can't actually open up any of the docs.
It's okay. You don't have to. Let's see. Share. Copy. Pasta. Done. Share. Copy. Pasta. There we go. Those are all the documents that we're going to be using. Now, for your homework. Everyone has homework for this week.
Oh boy.
Oh shit, dude, that's more homework than I've gotten in this entire year of school.
Yep. So, Fan has been nice enough to show me this awesome book that is called The Word of Thoth. Now, it is the basics of conquest.
There's a book?
There is a book.
Dude, I'm glad there's a book,
It's-
honestly.
You have to read a book?
Yes, you're going to be reading a book, and we're going to be going over certain things during our meetings.
Can you have story time?
Yes, we can have story time.
So
Now-
you never said reading was part of this deal.
Yeah, it is. So we are going to be reading this up. A lot of it is already known. It's just to reiterate some things, get some things drilled into your skulls, and pretty much it. I'm going to be reading it. I'm going to be asking questions about it during our meetings to make sure everyone's reading it. You know, like a nice little book report. Yay! Everyone
Oh,
loves
boy.
those. Thank you for reminding me, Noog. Remember, Noog
Wait, a
reminded
book
me
report?
about this.
I'm that kid
hate
who
book
was like,
reports.
we've got. Oh, I'm that kid.
Yeah, you're that
New
kid.
guy hate that kid.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Everyone hates that kid.
I will be uploading
Literally.
it to
I don't
you
think
guys.
that kid likes that kid.
I'll be uploading it to you guys. Now it is off of 5.8, so it don't pretty much the biggest change was Mid Harpies XP or Elder Harpies XP, I should say,
Yeah,
and
you
I
get
think
ego.
the Oracle Health I think was the other
Okay.
big jungle change. So other than that, the basics and everything are pretty much the same. And here, just to ask, Casey, are you paying attention?
That's a no.
No.
That'd be a no. It's okay.
What
Casey,
happened to Casey?
he's not paying attention.
Hey,
Okay.
gay boy.
Well, he's going to be surprised when he gets benched.
Oh
Anyways,
boy.
yeah, it's going to be really fun.
What
My mic's
other
not
genre
working. What
is
the
that?
fuck?
Oh, there we go. Okay, Casey. So, what did I just say over the last 5 seconds?
Book.
Book. Yes, what do you do with book?
We have homework.
I'm not- Help! What is going on? Help me!
You have homework.
Brain just shut
It's
down.
all Pheon's fault. No.
I agree with that.
It is
No,
all
the
Pheon's fault.
at Pheon macro I made replaced my push to talk.
There you go. Hey, Mr. Dad.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so that's pretty much it on how we're going to be doing things. Oh, I need to explain this to Noog. I'm going to stop the recording real quick.